It's something that's so easy for us to forget, these concepts, such as we read in our sacred morning readings or in most of our, best books, materials, what the greatest teachers teach. This concept that there is something, there is this thing, God, that is love. And because it is love, it loves us. And I could be in a temple, I could be in a fundamental church, a New Thought center, and we could say that same thing, and it's still interpreted by people differently. If we say, God loves us, it sounds almost very fundamental Christian. The Lord loves us, although, you also hear other things about the Lord not liking us in some traditions. I mean, that's the way it is. But it's one of the most common laws and important laws. God is but love, and therefore so am I. Made in God's image, and so am I. So there's God, and God is only love. It's not something that can be love once in a while. God, and it's only love. And then immediately we can easily put into our minds our version of what love is, and then sort of fit God into that mold. Okay, what is love? Well, I love my partner or my children, so that's love. God is love, so God will fit that mold. It's really, really impossible with a human mind to understand such a profoundly spiritual concept as to what God is. The closest we can come is a feeling. And the one we most best can attribute is love. We could say it's actually bliss, but bliss kind of hangs out, where love can actually take action. Bliss mostly just hangs out. So there's the passive aspect of God, the bliss, but then there's the active aspect of God. Into the world, into my life, into me. Even creating me, God, asserted love. Wow, I'm so much love. This is just so cool. I think I'll share this love. And on that day we were born. Wow, how you doing? Me, I'm great. How about you? I just feel so loving. Isn't that amazing? We're all feeling blissful and loving, just like God, because we're made in God's image. But somewhere along the line, without getting into the details of the history, into our minds crept a tiny mad idea, an insane notion that there could be life without God. And if God is love and you can have life outside of God, it means you can have life outside of love. And that's where the material world came from. It was birthed by us. God created just only love. So there's a universe. We'll have to use, for lack of a better phrase or term, God created a dimension called heaven. But really, it didn't create it's what God is. But let's just use it for now. There's this concept of a dimension of love. But dimensions, even in quantum physics, we understand, and as we're learning it even in sciences, astrosciences, that dimensions overlap. It's not like there's a dimension over there and then one over there somewhere else. They're sort of superimposed one over another, which is also difficult to imagine. We still in our minds go, you mean like layers like this? Or layers like this from left to right? Or it's really hard to understand. What does it mean to have dimensions superimposed? It means that right here is one dimension, and then right here is the next dimension, and then right here is the one after that, and the next, and the next, and the next. Well, they're all right here. But you can't necessarily have two things existing in exactly the same space at exactly the same time. But you can, because they're not actually in the same time. Nor are they in exactly the same place in terms of measurement. So that's why it's laws that override standard laws. Right here is God's world. And then people go, oh yeah, you're right. Oh, look, a butterfly. Oh, it is God's world. That's not the one. Because the butterfly will get caught in a spider web. And it'll be destroyed by the spider, and that's not heaven. That's why we're hearing that when heaven is, the lion will lie with the lamb. Meaning you don't have the stuff that you see in this material world. There's not a candidate out there that will be the heaven candidate versus the hell candidate. There's not an ecosystem that is the heaven one versus the hell one. There isn't the health system or healthiness of our systems that is heaven versus hell. It doesn't happen that way. There's this absolute frequency of love. And it's right here. But what we've done is we've put, the analogy I've used for many years is an overhead projector. Now, if you're old enough like me to know what that is, you know, then you'll catch on. But if you're younger, you may not remember these. But this box with a projector, kind of a light in it, and it hits a mirror and goes up onto the screen like a projector. But instead of a projector showing film, you put slides on the glass and it shows you that because of the mirror. Okay, now, that pure light is heaven. Imagine that. Overhead projector, pop it on, boom, the light of God. Now look at the screen, what do you see? Light. Nice. There you go. But imagine nice, like that light had a feeling, just pretend, a feeling that light, what if you were living in darkness? You were trapped in your house. The electricity went off. You're living in the middle of nowhere. You can't find anything. There's no light and you don't know where the flashlights are. Darkness, darkness, darkness suddenly doesn't feel very good. As soon as there's even the smallest amount of light, you find a flashlight, a match, poop. Oh, thank God. Look at how grateful you are to have any amount of light. Try to imagine that times 1,000,000,000 and make it a feeling when you see the light on that screen. The light of God. You know, that's just amazing. Okay, so how is that an analogy of life? Now, take a slide that just has a little black speck on it and lay it over the light. And then imagine you have a slide for every hurt you've ever experienced. And on those slides, there's just some sort of smudge that represents your limited beliefs, your limited experiences, your illnesses. There's the loss of a child. There's the such and such when I was a kid. There's such and such, but nobody liked me in school. There's my parents said. There's my own physical limitations, illnesses, money issues, the job I lost. Add a different slide with a different smudge anywhere on the slide. Just put a smudge here and there. Keep adding slides for everything that's ever been a traumatic or less than godlike experience. In a matter of time, the screen will go dark again. Won't it? And at the very least, it'll be very obscured, the light. You know, you might still see traces of it here. That's life on earth. Everything we see is made up of overlays. We actually think we're seeing things, and we're not. Even the science of vision, vision, can tell you this, but they just don't get the feeling of the metaphysics behind it. They just go, no, it's just factually. What you're seeing is not actually there. I mean, how do they not get that? Did you get what you just said? Well, yes, what you're seeing is not actually there. That's so cool. Why? I don't know why that doesn't add up to anything to them. What you're seeing is an illusion. What you're seeing is gathering information into your eyeball, going into your brain, and then your brain will determine what you think you see. And it will determine what you see based on what? When? Always the past. Your eyes are incapable of telling you, which is why so many mystics and masters, gurus and such, you know, in history, yogis I should say, would tell you your eyes and your senses lie to you. So you have a spiritual self and you have a material self. The material self is just trying to get by. And it uses senses to get by. You know, none of this is actually here, but if I feel my way through, you know, my eyes will tell me something. Now, if I have met nice people, and in my experience, mostly it's males or females, or blacks or whites, or this race or this thing or whatever, people that live in this town or that town, whatever my experiences have been, are going to be the ones that my receptors and my brain allow me to have again. It almost never allows new experiences. And in medical science, they'll say your brain is trying to conserve energy by summarizing everything you see now by telling you it's the same as you once saw before. And you never get to have a new experience. So somebody can walk in the door and they could be divinely ordained by God to walk up to you, say hello, and change your day. But your brain's going to go, you know, short-circuiting, you know, little twitches like, what's going on here? This is not within my systems. And it's going to panic, and it'll have to come up with, okay, wait, don't panic. You're doing this inside. Nobody's really seeing it, usually, unless you live in Sedona. But, most of the time it's contained inside. So inside there's this panic, and it's like, what is this? And then the brain's going to go, controlled by the ego, the brain's going to say, don't panic, I'll take care of this. Oh, you must be so nice and such a good friend to be able to take care of this for me. I got it covered, which it doesn't. It's not out for your good. But the ego is going to say, I got you covered. What it's going to do is say, I understand that they seemed a little unique, seemed a little nicer than some. But after all, they are men. That is a man in front of you. And you know what men have done before. Oh yeah, men. Or women. Or this race, or that height, or this body type. The brain has programs. And your ego never wants you to respond or experience anything outside of the programs it gave us. And then we become addicted to the programs. There's actually a chemistry to that, which I talked about last Friday on our Friday night free things that go out over the internet, so you can go look it up. But it becomes a chemistry. I mean, even the chemistry in my body will not accept something that is in the moment, new, love. And all of us have had at least one miraculous moment that bends our mind, that makes us go, there's something wrong with this. This can't be true. No, it could be anything. It could be, you think you have winning lottery numbers, and you look at it and you go, no way. You go into the it can't be rather than, of course. Or a healing. If a doctor says, hey, guess what? That thing you had, it's gone. There's a part of us that thinks, are you sure? Instead of, yes, of course. If it doesn't exist in God, how could it exist in me if I'm made in God's image? There's a part of us that is so addicted and used to the other, it's almost like we are living, it's beyond almost, it's because we are living in constant post-trauma of life. The trauma of thinking we separated from God, the trauma that we think we separated from each other. If we're separate, how can I trust any of you? Think about it. If we're separate, well, I don't trust strangers, but I trust my family. For how long? Everybody's on borrowed time, if you still have an ego mind. So God is asking us, listen, as much as you can try to make your life decent, it isn't going to work. At some point, things go wrong and you're going to be hurt again. So why don't you eventually just consider trusting the only thing you can trust, which is God, in us. Trust the trustworthy parts in each other. Don't put trust in the ego-based parts of each other. How could that go well? Learn to find the light of God in each other. Mainly that comes through love and forgiveness. Because I can't actually just sit there and stare at you until I see the light of you. To a degree you can, but not ultimately. And not as easily as practicing love and forgiveness. Because then I don't have to try. What happens is my mind gets rewired and it becomes a natural process. If I go on the programming and the wiring of my previous brain, my biology, neurology, etc., is not going to allow me to experience God on earth. And some people, even the most well-intended, are still waiting for God on earth to be somebody like Jesus returning and making everything okay. If Jesus returned tomorrow, he would still have no thing he could do for you other than asking you to still wear the mind of Christ, which means a mind of love and forgiveness. In other words, they can't give you that mind. They can only tell you how to stop being anything but that mind by letting go of judgment, by letting go of fear, the compulsions that there's something this world has to offer. I mean, basically, think about the middle path. Middle path. There's two middle paths. Most people are on any path but the middle path. It's true. It's true. They're just on any path but. Oh, I was doing meditation, but gosh, I haven't meditated in weeks because I met a new person and we've just been so busy. You are not having a relationship. You are having a distraction. And it was created not by God, but by your ego that doesn't want you getting closer to God. You could call it the devil in Christian terminology, or the ego in other terminologies. But there's a part of us that wants to wake up and a part that does not. And the part that wants to wake up seeks the middle path. On earth, the middle path is called balance. Yes, meditate, but also spend time with your kids and spend time here and there. But middle path, nice balance. That's only going to help you have a better life on earth. Even then, the balance, the middle life called balance, the middle path called balance, will only help you a little to have a better life on earth. It isn't going to give you the better life called heaven. That middle path is God. So, right down the center, the path of God. Now, don't let the head get involved going, well, so God would be that I only read the Bible, let's say, versus any other book. No, it's not stringent like that. Because I can read the Bible from a completely fear-based, addictive nature. And I can sit by a stream and be in the center of God. So it's not the what, it's the how that I find the middle path of God. So the middle path of God, however, does mean a commitment to my spiritual path. It does mean I'm doing something to take out the parts of me that are not love. To heal them. To dismantle stuff in my life that's a distraction. Whatever it happens to be. If someone said to you, okay, look, we're going to give you a new job. And it's going to pay you 3 times the money you're making now. Oh my God, that's great. I was praying for that. I was affirming. I was even using law of attraction and golden candles. All kinds of things to make this happen. That's great. It's perfect timing, perfectly in alignment with spiritual creation. Okay, cool. Now all of a sudden you find they haven't called you back yet. So you call them. Oh no, we're still working on it. It's going to be a few more weeks. And then a couple months goes by. And another couple months. Try to listen. This is supposed to be a miraculous God-centered thing that I'm doing. But did you notice that somewhere in there I got hooked? And now I'm waiting for it to happen? And you're not telling me? You're not giving me my answer? Yeah, but be patient. Because if you push us too hard, the job won't be yours. Oh, I'm sorry. Now I'm a little child. I'm sorry, Mommy, Daddy. I just was wanting food because I'm hungry. Stop asking. We'll get you your food. Okay. And now you're suffering. Is that making sense? I got hooked, and I'm actually suffering. Now, I'm the type that's going to go, wait a second, hold it. Whoa, what was that? I got hooked into someone telling me they're going to give me something. Hi, listen, this is Michael, and you were telling me about that job, remember? Okay, I'm just checking in. Now, I'm not saying you call them and say, how dare you, and yell and hate and hang up. I'm saying you could be loving and tactful. Just checking in. It's been a while, and I thought kind of it was going to be a couple of weeks, which is what they told me, but I won't push that. And it's been several months now. And so I've got some other things I'm interested in doing. So what I thought I would do, and listen to the words, I thought I would call you one last time. That's how I would put it, although I wouldn't emphasize the words like that. I just thought I'd check one last time on this job to see if that was going to happen. So I'll hope to hear back from you by tomorrow, and if not, I'll know that it's not working out. Click. Now some people, God, why would you do that? You're risking the loss of that whole thing. No, I already am lost. Not will I lose the job, I'm already lost when I let you hook me into thinking my happiness was coming and you were going to give it to me. You're just dangling this thing. Secondly, if you're the type that would dangle a new possibility and not get back to me in that amount of time, do I even want to work for you, even if I want, even if it tells me I'm going to make 3 times as much? So I'm the type, guys, I'm just the type that would do that. And not all of us are. Some of us, we have such littleness inside, we'll take any little bait. But we have to learn, hold center. To absolutely hold center. And I'm the type that'll say, well, it's not opening up, so I'll just kind of knock things over just to see if anything's coming out of this. Is it a big, nice, beautiful plans about what you're going to give me, but it isn't happening. So I'll throw the plans in the fire. At least I get some heat from them, make marshmallows or something, out of the plans that turn it into lemonade. But I'm not going to get hooked. So this world is nothing and offers us nothing. Sounds kind of harsh, but it doesn't mean deny being here. We believe we're here because there's these seeming layers of dimensionality. Heaven means no dimensions, no overhead slides obscuring the light of God. The middle path, even while on earth, means that I'm not allowing things to obscure that light, and instead, the light of God can beam down. This world will not be the pure light of God, but it can reflect it. That's how to understand the role of this world. When you say, but is it real or is it not real? How much realness is there? How much should I get involved? It's fairly simple. Balance. Know the truth, but respect the illusion. The truth is, we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto. We're having a bad dream, and we're out in the world, this place called Oz. And behind the curtain is this psychopath, part of ourselves that hates ourselves, that loathes ourselves. There's a part of us that has self-loathing. There's a part of us that wants to be in limited consciousness because it thinks if I'm in limited consciousness, limited means there's less fuel in the tank. I can always pull to the gas station and get fueled up. That's the logic of it. Because limited consciousness never wants us to realize the tank cannot be empty. It can only ever be full. And I need nothing from this world. Not from any person or from anything. I am as God created me. And I choose and I will to be the Christ on earth. That's who I am. But I better go get some gas in the tank. Which sounds like a contradiction. And it isn't. I know that there's no car. There's no tank. There's no station that's going to give me fuel. I know that as a reality. But while I'm on earth, there's games we have to play. So, as much as it may sound like a contradiction, go get your checkups and deal with the stuff of this world. Just remember in the back of your mind, it has no real power over us. That's all. We're asked to play the game, to be in the world but not of the world. That's all. And it's so delicate. That's the middle path again. There's the God middle path. Just stay committed to knowing the truth of God. But the human middle path, balance. Balance such as nothing in this world really offers me anything. Now, that doesn't just mean I play along carelessly because of balance. I don't do that. Because of balance, I say, well, I don't really need anything. I don't need anybody. But it's nice to share some time with you. Relationship or whatever it happens to be. I don't need anything. But if I'm going to have a job, I'll have one that resonates with me. See, I don't go and do things in bits anymore. I don't go and have another meal, go and get another job, go and get your 20th life mate. I don't know how you can have 20 of them. When one of them turned out to not be your life mate, maybe you're not a great judge on that sort of thing. I found the one and only again. How can they be a one and only ever again? That doesn't make sense. So everybody out grabbing these things, grasping. It's Buddha's talking about that. Grasping, clawing for something. It's really, if you think about it, it's very sad that people would be so empty that they would grasp. Now we grasp, and then look at what happens when you lose a job, how much you can feel hurt, rejected, betrayed, etc. A partner, hurt, betrayed, rejected, etc. Look at the feelings we have. Now, technically we are told, if you use those feelings as a barometer, there's one thing you can get out of those emotions that you're feeling. The lesson of exactly how much you were invested in thinking that that thing had value. If I cry a little, it means I possibly had a little belief that that thing had value. If I cry tremendously, and I mean cry, I'm just using that as a metaphor. I mean, it could be like I'm just catatonic in bed, I can't move because I'm so lost emotionally. It just tells you that's how much you were invested in that thing. Now, I'm not saying become cold, not at all, but I'm saying use it as a barometer. Look at the things in life that have made you feel paralyzed, emotionally crippled, and so on and so on. It just tells us, it's a great objective way to say, wow, my feelings are normal as a human being to be sad and so on, but let me look at the tests. Let me make a printout of how crazy I got in loss, shame, guilt, betrayal, or whatever. And that tells me how lost I was. How invested I got tells me how much I was invested in the intensity of the emotions tells me the investment I had that you were going to be my answer. See, and that's kind of weird because you think you're only upset because someone left you. And you're not. You're upset because they're not what you thought they were. And what you thought they were is what you hoped they were. And what you hoped they were was something that fills you, something that completes you. And they are not. It's best to just retire everyone from such things and find yourself. I can find myself and share with others. I'm not saying don't have relations. But one comes from center and one goes looking for center, which you cannot find in another person. It doesn't even make any sense. If I'm standing here and here is my center, how could you be standing there and be my center? As soon as I go to you, I've just lost my center. It's right here. Any leaning to the right, to the left, forward, backward, up, down, anything other than right here is just another distraction. When you hear people talk like this, it can almost be a little bit deflating. Like, well, why even live? Everything in the world is just an illusion. That's right. And everything in this world is just another distraction. Correct? I wouldn't tell this to my 5-year-olds if I had children like that, Hey kids, guess what? Nothing matters, There's no point to anything. It's all an illusion. I wouldn't do that. Because you have to respect the illusion of where people are at. I've been teaching for many years. I haven't always been able to say this. I think some of it comes from when you get old. You just don't care anymore. So you just blurt. And then if somebody ever calls you on it, you can claim it's some medical issue that causes you to blurt. But I wasn't always able to say quite the same things. The world is changing and people are becoming more accustomed to understanding and believing that it is in fact possible, and in fact it's a fact that the world offers us nothing. You could sit in the old days and read a little Lao Tzu or Buddha and go, oh, listen to this, a great quote. The world is nothing within the nothingness of the nothing. Oh man, that's deep. People could go, wow, because you were safely distanced, because it was just some abstract Eastern poem of some kind. Now we're going, you're kidding. It's actually becoming my reality because I've lived it. I'm not reading it in a pocketbook, sized, excerpt from Lao Tzu or whatever. I'm now actually understanding it. I've now been there. I now know it. Don't think it, read it. I now know it. I understand it. Yeah, it's a little amazing. But it is the truth of God. And that's part of the dismantling of the world we once knew. By us becoming more accustomed to hearing it, speaking it, experiencing it, the world is changing. And I don't just mean out there. The world is changing in our consciousness. There is a world of God, and it's got overlays, and the overlays are starting to get peeled off. Because we used to go, I can't take off any overlays. I can't even see them. It's too dark. Well, let's then close our eyes and stop trying to see in the dark. Let's just close our eyes and let's just start imagining where some of the overlays came from. Well, I don't even know what that means. Okay, well, close your eyes, and when you ask yourself, what have been examples of some betrayals you've ever had? Well, how's that going to help? No, just relax, just a little self-inventory. Can you name some betrayals you've ever had? Well, yeah, here's one. And as you start to confront them, look at them, feel them, process them, you don't realize it, but overlays are being taken off the overhead. Okay, keep your eyes closed. Okay, I am. What else you got? Any kind of hurts, unexpected traumas. Well, there was this, and then here comes some tears, and then there was also this and this, didn't expect that. Any losses? Processing. See? And more layers and more layers and more layers. And at some point, our guide, which can be really ourselves, it can be any healer, but it is also the Divine Mother, Holy Spirit of God, that's doing this process with us. And at some point, she says, now, honey, you mind, can I have you open your eyes? Well, why? It's always so dark. I can't see anyway. Just open them. And you open them and you realize, I can see. That's called being born again. I can see. What happened? Did somebody find a light? Somebody found the lights, didn't they? No. You took off the darkness. The light was already there. And that's what healing does. It's just get the stuff out of the way. Everything is just a mind perception. It's just an illusion. It has no real power over us, but we think it does. There's a quote from A Course in Miracles. This is an insane world. Do not underestimate the extent of its insanity. There is no area of perception that is untouched by this insanity. That's right. When you are in darkness, you will perceive that darkness everywhere. It's hard not to. You just here's a story that'll tempt you to judge me, but hang in there. When the Y2K thing came and people were living in fear, clearly the whole world is going to shut down and we just won't even have anything anymore. We'll all just sit around in the dark, not knowing what to do forever. So that was the theory with the computers going haywire at the midnight 2012, or midnight 2000, Y2K was. And it occurred to me, and then I went over and was visiting my kids. They were at their mom's house. They were little at the time. And I went over and said, hey, guys, how's it going? Well, Michael, Dad, don't you realize this is, and the lights and everything's going to go. Oh, you're kidding. Okay, well, do you want me to stay here with you guys? Yeah, Dad, hang out. Okay. And we sit, waiting for the world to end, and they're all sitting around just with their mom on the couch, waiting. And, I just got up. I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick and go to the bathroom, get something to drink or whatever. And midnight comes and all the power, boom, goes out. The first thing, boom, power goes out in darkness. The second thing I remember hearing, ah! My kids just started screaming. I go up the stairs, hey, what's going on? Dad, it happened. The world is coming to an end. All the lights went out. They didn't know I had gone to the breaker. And it was great because they helped me without realizing it. I could hear them going, 5, 4, 3. I'm like, I don't wear a watch. I don't wear a watch. This is helpful. 3, 2, 1. Ah! All you have to do is believe something, and it starts meaning something. I swear to God, I pay for their therapy now. I do. It must not have been easy to have me as a dad, but so the Course goes on to say, when you strive for anything in this world in the belief that it will bring you peace, you belittle yourself. When you think something in this world can fill you, you're already affirming your littleness. Do you get that? When you choose such, your choice is your evaluation of yourself. Choose littleness and you will not have peace, for you will have already judged yourself unworthy of it. As soon as you believe that you're less than divine, you're setting up the stage for all the things that will confirm it. Okay? And that includes when I get hooked into something like a person that then betrays me and, oh my God, how could you do this to me? And I thought you were perfect and you're going to, be my something forever, etc. I need to stop for a second and go, it's not just what they did and it's not just forgiving what they did. I get that. Work on that. That's fine. But remember, there's something else. What was I thinking? What was happening inside of me that made me not just hope you were something, I needed you to be that something? Oh my God, wow. That's when I need to forgive myself and apologize to myself. Man, I'm so sorry. I was putting you in an assignment that already confirms you're little. You're inadequate, you're limited, and there's somebody that'll fulfill you. And it can only go poorly. That's why Buddha was saying it can only end badly at the end. Because they will leave, they will die. Something's going to happen to end this little thing you've got going on, this false fulfillment. And it can't go well. So I don't think you should call everybody that you know and say, listen, gosh, silly me, I made myself think you were a friend or a partner. I thought you were my kids. Or it's all an illusion. I think we need to really just stop talking because you're just tempting me to believe I have friends. I think that's not necessary. But what I do need to do is understand it in here. It's still true. Just because I'm not going to tell you doesn't mean it's not true. It's just not appropriate because we don't have human brains that'll understand that yet. But we are learning to understand it. More and more, if you had a person versus, say, 20 years ago or whenever else, more and more people today would be able to hear you, even though it's still going to be tough to hear you say, I can see that there's a lot of addictions and illusions in my life, and I'm going to start cutting back on some things. So I may start spending some more personal time, and I apologize if that's an imposition on our relationship. I know that's not easy, but I'm telling you, more people would understand it today than they would have years ago.
That's right.
Because the concept of us working on ourselves, the concept of us making our middle path of balance a priority is becoming a bit more common. Don't you think?
Yes.
Yeah. So this is the direction we're going. And, I'm going to share one last quote from A Course in Miracles. Do not despair, then, because of limitations. You are in a limited world created from a limited mind, but you're not a limited mind. You're an unlimited. You just don't get to see that yet because you don't own the unlimited self. If you own the unlimited self, you would see an unlimited universe. The more you own your littleness, the more that's the world you're going to see. So don't despair because of these limitations. It is your function to eventually escape from them, but not to be without them right now. You're in the world. You're going to see these things. They just don't have to control you the way they once did. If you would be heard by those who suffer, you must speak their language. This is very important. If you're going to be able to get connection from people in this world, you're still going to need to have a little bit of limited consciousness. In other words, you're going to still need to have a little bit of humanness to you. Even though you're a glorious, divine, unlimited being, it's not that bad a thing to think that you still also have issues here and there. Because, there are other people with those issues and they need you to speak their language. So, if you would be a savior, you must understand what it is that needs to be escaped from. All the help you can accept will be provided, and not one need you have will not be met. So, everything we need to help ourselves and or others is right here. And even though we say, okay, Michael's saying there's a spiritual world and then there's an earthly world, a material world. One is unlimited, one is limited. One is heaven, one is earth. One of them is this thing called heaven. It's the perfect light, love of God. The other has all these overlays. True. Don't shame yourself, however, for having some of those smudges, because that one smudge called betrayal that you've had and you wish it were completely gone, do your work on it. It's healing. You're doing a great job. But don't shame yourself for having it, because that's how you can talk to other people in this world, becoming a miracle worker to them, because you've had the same overlay that they've got. It's okay. We grow and we grow, yes, and the slides come off. That's right. But don't make it an obsession, because then it becomes a smudge called obsessing on perfection. You just add another judgment to yourself. So all we can do is walk the path, walk the middle path of balance, and walk the middle path of dedication to God. Know the truth that it's all a distraction, this world, everything here. I don't care what it is. The way people look, your health, everything is a distraction. There's negative distractions, which is hurtful behaviors, positive ones, seemingly positive ones, which is all about, look at me, I'm amazing. I look younger than I did yesterday. That's still a distraction. You don't have a body. You don't even have a body. It's just what your brain believes it needs to see in front of you. When you think you need to see somebody who looks terrible, that's what you're going to see. When you think you need, and for some reason your belief systems are about seeing people that are better looking than you in your opinion, better fitness or whatever, that's what you're going to see. Everything out here just materializes to show us how we're feeling, what we're feeling inside. So you're not going to be without this stuff. We're in this world. But don't be of the world. You will escape the effects these things have. But they're still going to be there, but you've escaped their effect on you. You don't have to say, God, I still see people when I open my eyes. I thought I was spiritual. They'll still be there, but you don't judge them as much. You'll still have a job and not judge it as much. The world will still be there for a while my consciousness is changing. And then, when enough of us have shifted our consciousness, we will have an unconscious discussion. Are we ready yet? Nope. Over in the corner somewhere. No, I need a little bit more time. Okay. Let's all continue incarnating and looking at people without judging people. And let's not judge our circumstances and not judge poverty nor prosperity. Let's hold the center, hold the center. We check in again. Unconscious conversation. Hey, everybody ready? All yay? Yay! Any nay? Oh, we're ready. And in that split second, the world disappears. And we're home. But we don't go home like two of us and leave a few more, bless you. We're a collective consciousness. So as long as there's some overlay in our collective, not just my personal overlays, but the collective consciousness has them too. And as long as there's still one piece, like Yogananda said, as long as there's still one thing needing healed, I will come back. You know, he didn't say, oh, whew, I'm feeling pretty yogi. I'm pretty mystical, and people are going to love my quotes for a long time. That really sets me up in the high standards of spiritual teachers. So I just feel really good about myself. I'm going to go now, you know. I have a mantra that I'll leave you all with, which is, it sucks to be Hugh. And gone, you know, instead, can you imagine what it takes for a master like that to say, and I'll be back, and I'll be back, and I'll be back until we all go. I mean, humans go, why do I have to come back? It's their fault. Why should I come back? Because they won't heal. Think about it. I mean, it's true. That's the human consciousness. And imagine being so enlightened. Who's the them we can talk about? Well, it's not our fault. Who's they? Who are they? We're one collective. As long as any one part of us is still hurt enough or hurting enough, we have to come back and play the game. And it's okay. That's not always easy. Man, there's days that I think, let's ascend, man. Let's just go. There are days like that, but I know the truth. And if God appeared to me at any moment, even in the toughest moments, Michael, yes, you can ascend now because you've really done a great job. Thank you. And you really have a good heart. And you really do mean well. You have good intentions and good integrities. Thank you, God. So you can ascend now. Okay. I'll take you up on that. I would. I'd be really talented. I'd go, yeah, okay. Then God, I know God well enough to know, God would say, but you know, Michael, I would really appreciate it if you could come back and help a few more people. I'd be like, oh, you know. Seriously, like you had me at hello, you know. I was ready to go, and now you put in the little, I know God knows me, and I know that God would know that there's no way, it's not possible that I could say no to that. And I hope that that's in all of our hearts, that we'd rather not turn anybody away that's in need. And we practice that in our day-to-day lives, and it changes the world. Random acts of kindness helps bring the spiritual world instead of just the material world. The material world comes from material minds. It's the limited world that comes from limited minds. How proud do I want to be about my limited world that we've created? There's an unlimited world I can create. How? By getting in my unlimited mind. And that's by forgiving the one mind that is limiting and judgmental and shifting into unlimited and forgiving. And then I start to see a different world. And that happens in moments of epiphanies and enlightenment, and then it also happens gradually and steadily. Sometimes it'll be little blips, and sometimes there's an overall feeling that things are shifting inside. However it comes to us, make sure you give thanks, because there are far more things on this earth that will try to get you off center than there are things to bring you onto center. That's the design of the place. You are outnumbered. You are absolutely outnumbered. That's a fact because that's how this world was created. A fear-based place to make you always be outnumbered. You can't fight the world with the same mind that created the world. All we can do is, I'm going to shift my allegiances to the center path. Make God my priority, which is spirituality my priority, and I will not deter from that. Love, forgiveness, peace, joy. I forgot again. Let me pray again. Call upon the mind of Christ. And there are so many deep things, and I'll close with this. So many deep things we can learn from all this. You could say, I mean, God, it's so hard to put into words sometimes, but you can imagine saying, okay, I'm going to call upon Christ. You can even say your angels if you like, but let's just say for a moment, you're going to call upon Christ. Jesus, who manifested and became the Christ that you're becoming as Christ too. But you can call upon the Holy Spirit. But let's use Jesus as an example. He's a teacher that represents awakening. Okay, so we're going to call upon him. We still have the tendency to say, Jesus, I would love for you to come here and speak to me. I'd love to have a vision because I've heard people have them. So let me have one of those. And Jesus is like, God, that's so sad that you want me to appear to you. And like, hi, it's Jesus in my white robe again, after 2,000 years, but, it's me again and just coming to say whatever it is that you think is going to change your life. Hello, beloved. Yeah, say something else that's cool. Be in the heart and mind of that Christ that I am. Ooh, oh, that's amazing. See, you're having a conversation. And the truth is, if you could ask Jesus, not what you want, but what it wants. This person, known as Jesus historically, would say to you, I'd like to play a game with you. Instead of you calling on me and me appearing in the form you want, telling you the things you want to hear from me, I have another idea. Why don't we let me be invisible so you have to come to me? Now watch what happens. If you have to come to me, that means you have to start being more like me. So by not appearing to people, I'm actually causing them to have to become like me to see me. And that does more than me appearing to them where they're at and they make no change or effort to shift. You see the difference? That's how profound the real spiritual path is. The divine plan for humanity's awakening has some pieces to it that humans do not hear about yet and do not understand yet. That's why I've sometimes announced these new dispensations where we're told the masters and so forth aren't going to come here as much as they used to because we're supposed to go to them. The dispensations where you'd have a teacher here and there, that your religious teacher, your leader, whatever they happen to be, it's not happening like that anymore. Instead of a few waking up, it's everyone has to wake up. And one of the ways for that to happen is all of us in the trenches, like he was saying in that one quote, don't be so upset that you still have issues. You're going to get past them. Don't worry about that. But while you're here, sometimes those issues, even if they're in your past, they give you a languaging to speak to other people with those kinds of issues. In other words, even your wounds can be used by Spirit for something profoundly powerful, miraculous. Things you think are a little inconvenient. If only I could be over that such and such. You don't put it that way. Do your work on it, but while you still have shades of it, there are going to be people you're going to meet that they wouldn't be able to hear anybody else but you, bringing them light today. Oh, that's been you? Oh, me too. You find people, you meet people. It's called bridging. You connect with them and you bring them home because of that thing you tried to get rid of. Yes, work on it. Don't obsess and don't judge yourself for it. If it's there, let Spirit use it. Male, female, black, white. You have teeth, you don't have teeth. You have kids, you don't have kids. Any one of these things makes you somehow unique for someone to hear you. There's a frequency they pick up on, and they can hear from you something they could not have heard from me. All right, let's take a few centering breaths. setting aside the world and the stuff of the world, setting aside shallowness, fear, worries, concerns. And today's meditation to be like a experiential prayer. In this moment, Father, Mother, God, I behold a world that I see every day with my eyes and my senses. Normal world. The standard of what I see every day. I turn on the TV, what kinds of things might I see? Just imagine them. When you walk into a grocery store, what kinds of things do you see? Not just items, but interactions and people. People on the freeway. People in hospitals or in schools. Look at the stuff that goes on in this world. Finding love of this world, like partnership, and losing love. All the stuff of this world. There are people out there busying themselves with having to mow their lawns, tie their shoes, and so on. And just for a moment, be really vividly aware of how much work that is, how much effort. Just be aware of all the stuff of this world. Fueling up cars, buying cars, bills, having to pay bills and not having funds to pay them sometimes. All the stuff. Prepping dinner. Try to add all that up. Look at the stuff one person does and multiply it. That they do every day and multiply it by nearly 8 billion people just in one day. And then allow the contrast to be clear. Underneath all of that, there is this perfect peace of God that does nothing. Perfectly self-sustaining in bliss as a consciousness. Just try to imagine what that looks like or feels like. Underneath all the doing, try to feel or imagine the difference. The world that is versus the world that isn't. Look at the contrast. And then individualize the contrast and imagine every person out there mowing and fueling and cooking and cleaning and bill paying, all of the stuff. Each one of them, deep inside, has the kingdom/consciousness of God. Still peaceful, still blissful, deep inside, unheard, unseen, unfelt by them. Clearly, they're really missing out on something. And so, we're aware of all of this, and we can now say and affirm, I recognize that I see the people on earth, including myself, getting caught up in the doing. And yet I know that underneath it all, there is a peace that surpasses understanding. So I am releasing everyone for at least this moment I am releasing everyone from my image of them doing, because if my brain is used to seeing people in the doing mode, it will never be able to free them up to be who they really are. I forgive everyone and I release everyone from my opinions, my thoughts, my programs of them doing. All programs of them doing, I'm giving up to you, Father, Mother, God. Help me to forgive myself for imprisoning everybody into an image of a human with limited being as their consciousness. It's not true. So I release us all. And just imagine what happens in the soul when we're quickened, when we kind of leap out of the body that was zipped up around us, acting and doing. It's burst, and all this light comes out. And let's imagine that for the world. That's called the second coming of Christ. The have-tos disappear. The kids have to go to college. So-and-so has to have babies. So-and-so must heal because I don't want them to pass away. And so on and so on. You know what? You just say to all of them, you know what? I know nothing. But God does. So I surrender to God's mind so that I can see everyone through God's mind. And I celebrate in advance that this is a very good thing. Quietly inside we hear, and so it is. And then, just softly and gradually come back to the room. Don't rush to that, just very gently come back to the room. Nicely done. All right. How you feeling? Good. There's a DVD set, if you're interested. It's on our website or in the bookstore here, called Spirit versus Matter, and it addresses things along these lines. It has topics like the spiritual world versus the material world, or the divine I am versus the ego I am not. It has some topics along these lines, so you can check that out if you like. All right?